Remember that one time in your car, the engine light went on, right? And your wife looked at you with just concern and hope. Like this was your moment. So you popped open the hood, you added the oil, and just like that, that light disappeared on the dashboard. Problem solved, wife happy, time to move forward in life. If only fixing your marriage was as simple as tightening a few loose bolts. But what if there were master tools that could not only win your wife back, but inspire her to invest in your relationship too, and making changes on her own?
My wife and I make plans for the future now. Um, you know, my work, the things I've been doing, have led to a big reflection on her part, uh, for herself. She's seeking therapy and help for things that she needs. It's kind of become contagious for how we're getting better, you know?
In this video, I'm going to share 3 powerful master tools that helped James repair his marriage. At the end, I have a bonus for you, by the way, something that it struck me during my conversation with James that I have to share. It's a simple yet powerful truth that every man needs to hear.
This is why I love getting on calls, just like drop wisdom lines like that.
Here's where it all started. James applied the first tool that not only gave him clarity, it completely shifted the dynamic with his wife. He did something that felt completely counterintuitive, but it worked. Imagine her being drawn back to you, not out of obligation or duty or honor or vows, but because of your steady, grounded presence that draws her back in through attraction, through her emotion, through her raw desire. Listen to James describe it.
Realizing space was for me.
Hmm.
Yeah, you have a hard time coming to terms with this is for you and not your marriage, and that will take a little while to get around, or put your head into the space where it needs to be beneficial for you, and you aren't getting what you wanted either if you're not the man that you want to be. And you're not creating that, or but just looking at space as an opportunity has probably been one of my biggest wins.
The tool here is the space shifter. The space shifter is about creating internal space with intention within the relationship, both for your wife and your own personal growth. So instead of panicking and chasing when she pulls away, you give her the room she needs while using that time to work on yourself. The reason this works is because when she sees you as the villain, no matter what you do, right or wrong, it goes through an emotional filter of low value. You can say all the right things. She will always see it as low value until you have that space. But when you create that space, it disintegrates that filter over time, and the healing happens within her, and then she's open to a new perspective. It's just as a sculptor starts with a rough block of stone, right? And slowly chips away to reveal its masterpiece. Well, time apart in your relationship, it gives you the opportunity to carve out the best version of yourself, to look at yourself honestly and say, there were chinks here and cracks and these weird parts that were jagging into her. Let's smooth that out. You see what I mean? In that space, you could redefine and rediscover who you are under the surface. The process may not be quick or smooth, but each moment of intentional growth is like a stroke of the chisel, revealing the man you want to become. And for James, it wasn't always a smooth transition. Listen to what he shares about his challenging period and the key mindset that he adopted within.
Even when, I was getting one-word answers for 3, 4, 5, and we'd had regressions a little bit. Yeah, realizing space was for me and taking advantage of that. And coming home, just working around space being for me and coming home with intention. When I needed to have that space, I'd come home, I'd check in, I'd see the things that, touch base about the kids. How is this? How is this? But I wouldn't linger around, like no more Mr. Nice Guy. I wasn't waiting for scraps.
So if James wasn't just sitting around during that intentional space time, what was he doing?
What did you occupy your time with and create that space?
I always have a million projects, but really it was things that I hadn't been doing, like working out or, just taking a run or doing things for me. You can, I was really good at busying myself with yard work and stuff like that. Maybe.
See, in James' experience, he didn't just passively wait during the space. He filled it with intention, focusing on himself and his growth. Over time, this steady, grounded presence becomes impossible to ignore. James had a rare advantage in saving his marriage. He realized early on that things weren't working, and he took proactive steps to make that change. But despite his efforts, they fell short.
Nothing I ever did was working. Like I'd gone through, lots of self-help books and stuff like that, or just things that benefit me. The Compound Effect, Seven Habits of Highly Effective Strangers,
Great books.
um, all your love languages. But there's nothing that like keeps you consistent to put you into practice. And like you try it for a while, but there's just there's no, you put the book down, and then the book is down.
So determined to do something more, James reached out to his wife directly.
I was kind of feeling bad about a couple opportunities that I'd missed. And so I just called my wife right there. It's like, hey, look, I'm not the man that I should be being right now. Like, these are opportunities I've missed, with us. I'm sorry.
But by then, like most men, the damage was already done.
My wife was heavy in a resentment stage at this point. Like we'd probably had a kiss that morning before I had gone to work, and then it was just this staggering regression where everything came pouring out.
With his marriage just hanging on by a single thread and the resolve to do whatever it took, and James reached out to us for guidance. But even with his determination, he had to ensure nothing and no one would really stand in his way.
I just went in my foreman's office and shut the door. I was like, hey, I might be getting divorced here. I have a couple calls that I need to make. Like, are you all right with me doing this? And he's like, yeah, don't wind up like me. He'd been divorced 6 years ago. He just, yeah, like when he kind of told me his story, like it's a lot like mine, but he just didn't do anything and didn't know how, or didn't know where to start, or,
Yeah.
And
So yeah, your situation was pretty unique in which that you were the one that kind of, was the catalyst to like, I should do something about this, right?
James applied the mastery tools he learned from the program, and while it required hard work, the results came faster than he expected.
How long did you join the program?
we'll just call it the beginning of August. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so pretty recent. I mean,
Oh yeah, like it progressed.
oh wow. Okay, so like
And
8 weeks.
One of the reasons for James' success was the second mastery tool. It played a pivotal role in shifting the way his wife responded to it. Adding this to your toolkit will lead to just calmer conversations and ultimately a deeper connection with your wife. Now, James mentions the common trap he used to fall into, one that many guys do. Listen to our conversation.
when she was upset, to thinking it was a reflection of myself,
Right.
or my value, or what I wasn't providing. Now we can, now I take that time, I sit with it for now. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that
Mhm.
that's a integral component of success for guys that a lot of men struggle with, which is what you just alluded to, which is not taking it personal. So how did you cultivate that ability when she does have a criticism or she's upset to like be able to kind of like say, okay, so maybe this is time to go toward her and not make it about me? How are you able to do that?
Um, there's a gentleman here, Chris Parker. He's with the group. He's been a huge benefit to me. And approaching it with curiosity. Uh-huh. Like, because there's a million things you're thinking, but you don't want to say the wrong thing, but just asking questions like, hey, do you think this is because of this? Or, if you, take a minute to see the situation for what it is. When I do such and such, does it make you feel this way? Just asking questions instead of freezing up or disassociating, or just not doing anything at all.
This tool is the curiosity shield. It involves deflecting your criticism and passing your tests. It's a practice of approaching your criticism with genuine curiosity instead of taking it personally or getting defensive. This is important because it turns moments of tension into opportunities for deeper connection. Picture it as a literal shield, but instead of deflecting arrows or attacks of swords, right, it defends against the criticism and emotional spikes that happen. You hold it up not to block communication, but to soften the blow and create a safe space for openness, allowing her to feel heard. It turns a potential argument into an opportunity for deeper understanding. Now, James also shares a powerful mindset shift that every man in the marriage should keep in mind.
You can't approach these things with, my wife is mad at me, or being afraid that she's mad at you. You're going to have to get right with that and realize that, sometimes she's just not going to be okay, or not pleased, or, and it's not your fault. And she's allowed to have feelings. I think that's a big one.
What James says next is incredibly helpful for understanding how to respond when your wife is upset. Instead of getting defensive or trying to say the perfect thing, there's a more effective approach. Now,
because you can't just start defending yourself or your actions. You need to, I think it helps if you don't always know where to say, why is my wife thinking that way? Pick your way through that a little bit. Like, could this because of this, or if you're talking, see if there's an association between, what happened at this point or what happened at this point, or, talks you've had, or just connecting the dots and approach them with curiosity has been the big thing.
That's one thing that I'll say is you can have two men, and a lot of guys they'll be like, what do I say to her to, and I can give you all the right words, but if behind those words you are not accepting her emotions and you're just like really upset, like it versus a guy who has maybe all the wrong words, but he genuinely is like connected and curious and wanting to be there for her, this guy will win 100 times out of 100. Right.
By the way, if you need help to get on a personal strategy call with one of our marriage evaluators, that free clarity call is down below by clicking on the link, but just make sure you're fully committed and ready to take action. It's not free advice on the call. We will give you clarity, but we want only men to set it in the call if they want to take action. So if that's you, click the link down below. Now, after applying the curiosity shield, James discovered another critical element that strengthened his marriage. This final tool is one you used to wield like a master, but you lost it years ago, and you replaced it with just idle passivity. Let's show you how James picked it up and began to use it to attract his wife again. When you apply this, you'll notice your wife begins to soften, feel happier, and just be naturally drawn back to you again. She just wants to talk to you. She's giddy talking to you. She reaches out to you more. I call it the leadership anchor. Now, I want to share a quick moment from our conversation with James where he talks about a key shift he made that just impacted his marriage. We'll just check it out.
Meeting with intention too. Like, every time I say the boys and I are fine, or I can tell she needs space, me and my sons go do something awesome. And, I make good and prove it when I have that opportunity.
And that ability to do that and to guide her and to also, plan this trip with her, and then her wanting to get support for herself, those all tie together into the core idea of masculine leadership, which I'm seeing from you.
So again, this is about guiding your marriage with strength, stability, and intention. It means taking the lead, not just in decision making, yes, do that, but in a way that causes your wife to know where you are headed day by day, moment by moment. You have that ambition to draw the family towards a higher goal. You demonstrate this calm leadership. It gives her a sense of security and trust, encouraging her to open up and follow your lead and want her to work on herself as well. This stability helps avoiding unnecessary conflicts, creating a safe place where both of you can flourish together. And I would argue only parts of yourself can flourish within the relationship context. In Apollo 13, astronaut Jim Lovell, he serves as a rock for his crew when the mission faces catastrophic failure.
Houston, we have a problem. Just stow it. We've been hit by a meteor. We'd be dead by now. We're gonna try to get us out of this lurch.
Houston, you're in the mud. Did you say switch to Omni Bravo? Roger, and the signal strength on the high
fighting me. What's the story here, Jack? We keep floating with gimbal lock.
Despite this life-threatening danger, Lovell remains calm and leads his crew through one of the just most dangerous situations ever encountered in space. His leadership prevents panic and instills hope in a desperate situation. Sound familiar? Now, before we wrap up, I just wanted to leave you with a final thought that might resonate with you on winning your wife back. When I asked James a question that I often pose to the guys in these interviews, his response was something that just really struck me because I never heard it before.
Is if you could jump in a time machine and go back maybe a year or, and just shake yourself and tell yourself something in that moment that he needed to hear to get to where you're at now, what would you tell him?
I'm not sure if I would, Josh. I think my low points were the things I needed. My not eating for, more than I could stomach, or not sleeping or anything like that. You can't just tell somebody this is what was going on. I probably wouldn't have listened anyway, or, objected and say, well, I have this and this and this to do, or, we need to plan this, or I need to do this. I don't think you can get to this spot by being told anything.
Unfortunately, that is true. Guys have to, we only change from inspiration or desperation, right? And so you got to hit that low.
And this brings up a powerful closing quote that you can take with you. You don't often get reforged if there's no heat. I wish I could take credit for that, but that was all James.
You don't get reforged if there's not any heat.
Without the heat, without the suffering, you can't shape yourself into a higher value man we know that you can be. I just got off a call with another guy right now on the program, and he has been on just a tear of self-development. He's joined all these other companies. He's been going to these retreats, and like the man he is, he's never been more proud of himself. He said, Josh, throughout all this, the man I've become, I don't know if I want my wife back because I've grown so much and she's choosing not to, right? He says he still loves her and he wants to work it out. He believes that she could still change. But he said to me, he goes, I'm playing guitar. I'm the best shape I've ever been. I'm doing this modeling shoot and they're going to pay me for it. He's a good looking dude, but like, he's really, toned up his body and face to have been taking care of himself. And he's like, why the hell did I have to just go through this misery in order to become this man? And I was like, I don't know your religious beliefs, but I think God oftentimes breaks us down to build ourselves up better than we thought we should be, right? We thought we were going to be this nice, house, but he wants us to be this empire, this palace. But in order to do that, he has to break away who you are first, right? And I know you're going through a difficult time, and I know it's hard to see for many of you right now because you're just blinded by the pain and the anxiousness and all these other emotions that help you. You can't see through the clouds of this misery. But I know, I am telling you that when you go through this, when you get through this, and you will get through this, you can get through it faster if you get help, but you will get through this eventually. You are going to look back at this and you're going to say to yourself, that was the best thing that happened to me. I've only seen it 1,000,000 times at this point, almost 1,000,000. Maybe by the time I die, it'll be 1,000,000. But by the way, besides being emotionally unreactive, one of the best skills you can develop within yourself is to learn how to pass your test, which is this video right here. So check that out. Thanks for watching. Set up a call down below if you need help. See you in the next one.